Hello, we are Group FTP, and today we'll be discussing a security analysis of MacDill Air Force Base. MacDill Air Force Base is located 8 miles south of Tampa on the Interbay Peninsula in Hillsborough County. The base serves a large population of people who have different roles inside the U.S. military, which includes 14,400 joint service members, 39,600 retirees, 20,600 family members. This totals around 74,600 people that MacDill Infrastructure has a role in providing support for. MacDill's main use today is an air mobility command base capable of rapidly projecting air refueling power anywhere in the world. With the main mission of MacDill being a support base for the refueling of aircraft and the supporting of a large population of people through its infrastructure, the base has a few critical assets it must keep secure. The first critical asset that is vital for MacDill and the U.S. Air Force to keep secure are the aircraft that the base is in charge of servicing. The base must be able to rapidly deploy refueling service to the aircraft that are in need in order to keep them in the air. It may be possible through a loss of communication that MacDill would be unable to locate their target that is in need of fuel. In the worst case scenario where no other base was able to respond or were simply not close enough, the target aircraft may experience a failure while flying from lack of fuel. This could result in a crash or emergency landing, which could damage or even end in total loss of the aircraft. The next critical asset of MacDill would be the base's infrastructure and the networks that allow communication throughout the base. Failures in the power, water, fuel, and safety systems would affect the large population supported by the base. Emergency services could be affected by a disruption of communication channels. This could be disastrous in the event that required a rapid response, especially in the case that someone needed medical attention, someone was committing a crime, or if a fire was taking place. Another example of critical asset are the web pages of MacDill, which could be compromised. The base must have civilians and service members willing to provide services on location in order to keep it running. With how expansive their website is, holding many fact sheets and information regarding the base, someone may be able to deface the website in order to hurt MacDill's credibility. If the reputation is tarnished, civilians may not apply for jobs, or some servicemen may not wish to be assigned them. Through the inventory of these critical assets, we have devised a threat model corresponding to each one. MacDill Air Force Base must keep a high level of availability for its communication channels, network, and components of its infrastructure. The biggest threat to this is a denial of service attack. It is possible with today's technology to accomplish this form of cyber attack using a distributed botnet or even a single laptop. Though each tool uses different means, there are many resources on the internet available to download the source code for powerful DOS weapons. These tools usually attack a specific layer of the OSI model. The attacks can include SYN floods produced through tools such as XOIC, which attacks layer 4. There are also tools like Solaris, specifically aimed at Apache web servers, Are You Dead Yet, which targets IIS web servers, and Taurus Hammer, which can take down either, all of which cause DOS in layer 7. These tools may not be advanced, but many are freely available to the public, and they all have varying methods of attack. If a DOS attack was successful on MacDill, the results could be devastating. The base may not be able to communicate with aircraft that needed fuel. The base's emergency services could be unavailable to respond because the network is unavailable. There's also the possibility that the basic amenities of the base could be halted, such as water and electricity provided to the residents. The base must keep the confidentiality of its data as well in order to function. The base uses Cisco iOS for some of its VPN communications, as discovered from some of their job listings. Cisco iOS stores clear text passwords and Type 7 ciphertext, which can be easily decrypted using software such as GetPass, which has been available since 1995. If a security professional does not change the encryption to something stronger, such as salted MD5 hashes, a breach in confidentiality can occur. An attacker is able to eavesdrop on encrypted communications, then decrypting the plain text. They may be able to discover strategic military plans, which could be disastrous during wartime. There's also the threat if the attacker then gains knowledge of how to break the cipher, has a formula for the encryption algorithm, or obtains the keys for encryption and decryption. Along with a breach in confidentiality could arise a breach in integrity. If an attacker could break the base's encrypted communications, they can encrypt their own message using the same method. The eavesdropper can then inject messages to the base, giving them false orders or even fish for information to gain escalated privileges, such as root username and password. In a past incident, someone was able to spoof radio signal frequencies from the air traffic control tower. This can be used to distract the base from aircraft in need of service or cause disruption to the planes that may be trying to land there. Both of these examples break the integrity of MacDill's inner and outer communication channels. Considering the threat model for MacDill, we have devised some high-tech security controls in order to combat possible attackers. The first area we considered was the implementation of management controls. The proper staffing could make the hardening of MacDill's network much more efficient and less prone to error. Here we have included a starting security staff of 5 employees with their projected salaries, which include 1 network security manager at $110,000, 3 network engineers at $85,000 each, and 1 network admin at $77,000, which brings us to a total cost of staffing at $367,000 per year for the base team. We also feel that this would be a great chance for internship opportunities as well. With the starting pay at $22 an hour for someone with enough experience to lend a hand into the day-to-day operations, the total estimated cost for an intern would be around $5,000 for a full-time month-long internship. The next area we considered was the implementation of technical controls. A firewall with VPN capabilities would be important to MacDill, as we have seen that the job listings require them to be familiar with Cisco iOS. This could provide access control to IP and MAC address filtering in order to keep an intruder out of the internal network. The cost of a license for a firewall of this type is estimated around $17,000. The last area we considered was the implementation of operational controls. A honeypot server is an excellent way for an organization to trap attackers, while being able to view their method of attack, which can provide insight on how to harden the system even more. The estimated cost for this is $2,500. MacDill could also provide annual recurring security training for its staff. This may ensure the team will stay up to date on the newest exploitations and be able to combat them accordingly. The cost for this type of training is around $10,000 per year. Installing biometrics would also provide excellent control over who has access to certain areas in the facility. If the base does not already have these in place, the estimated cost per door is $7,500. After reviewing the security controls as far as staffing, training, software, and hardware, we have estimated that MacDill will have to provide around $400,000 per year in order to put these controls into effect. With the numbers in hand of the cost for MacDill to secure its assets, we can begin to focus on its return on investment. The Department of Defense as a whole suffers 30 million cyber attacks per year, which averages to 80,000 per day. We feel that it's safe to assume that MacDill may experience at least 1 per week as an annual rate of occurrence. The DoD also has revealed that the success rate for these attacks is around 0.1%. As MacDill is likely to have a standardized military-grade network setup, we can assume that the success of an attacker would be in the same range and use this as the exposure factor. MacDill's most expensive asset is the aircraft that the base is in charge of servicing. If they were to experience failure, resulting in repairs or total loss due to the aftermath of an attack, the cost would be huge. The F-18 Hornet has been in commission since the 1980s and costs around $94 million to produce. This jet is commonly found in the military and can be a good figure to use for the value of an asset. We then can multiply together the asset value, annual rate of occurrence, exposure factor to calculate the annual loss expectancy for MacDill. This figure brings us to an ALE of around $4,888,000. There are many other factors that can contribute to whether this loss occurs or not, but MacDill is still at risk for a huge loss. After finding the LA for MacDill, we have to subtract our annual costs in order to find the ROI. Taking the $4,888,000 in ALE and subtracting $400,000 in costs, we have found the ROI to be $4,488,000 per year. These figures obviously allow for much more security than we have provided for, but we needed a baseline for where MacDill should start, and they could always add plenty of new security controls as needed. Taking into effect the high cost of the potential loss that MacDill Air Force Base may suffer, we feel as these security implementations are not only sensible, but also necessary. Thank you for taking the time to review our presentation, and we hope we were able to open your mind to how cost-effective security measures can be when put up against the cost of a potential loss.